What's going on, Devonte Sports? Back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be going over the current situation for the New York Giants in terms of salary cap. As Joe Schoen, the new general manager, has come out a few times, and he's talked about the salary cap and that in this offseason. Don't expect the team to spend, and don't expect them really to spend really too much at all at any point of him being the general manager, but expect about $40 million in savings this offseason. That's what he wants to do, save up $40 million. Whether that's freeing it up through cuts or whether that's freeing it up through trades, that remains to be seen. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see who the Giants will cut. And there's going to be some pretty important and meaningful players that ultimately end up, unfortunately, getting cut. And let's start right off with the first name I want to talk about, and that is James Bradberry. Listen, James Bradberry, I really, really like James Bradberry, but he last season didn't play up to his standards. He just didn't, and it's unfortunate, based off the year he had last season, and he just, he hasn't been as good as we expected him to be. But he's still a very solid cornerback in this league, and you're saving $12.1 million by cutting him or trading him before June 1st, which would be the most likely thing for him, especially because of how much money you're going to get for him before free agency, the draft. And then, if you cut him or trade him after June 1st, you're only jumping by $1.4 million to $13.5. So the most likely thing I think for James Bradberry is that before June 1st, I don't know if I'm going to say I wouldn't expect him to be with the team beyond June 1st and be on the team next year. I'm not going to go that far, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is traded or he gets cut. A lot of Giants fans want to know what his trade value might be. I'm not so sure. Hopefully, you could get about a third or fourth round pick for him. That's what my guess is. I don't think you're going to be able to get a second, unless there's a team that's really, really high on him. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think a third or fourth round pick, maybe even fifth round pick, I think is the more likely thing for James Bradberry. The next player is an obvious one, Kyle Rudolph. You save $5 million if you cut him before June 1st. I think that one is pretty obvious. I think that's going to happen. $5 million is going to be a lot to get to that $40 million number, and Kyle Rudolph will be cut. His trade value is nothing. He's going to be cut. The tight end, of course. So the Giants are going to have to, in my opinion, I think they should draft a tight end. I like Jeremy Rutker. He's a good name. A lot of Giants fans like, including myself. So I could see the Giants do that. Take a tight end that route. Of course, Evan Ingram, he's a free agent. So that's what I think they'll do with Rudolph, though. I think they're going to cut him to save the $5 million. And then another interesting one is Blake Martinez. You could save over 8.5 if you cut him before June 1st, or you trade him before June 1st. After June 1st, that amount does not change from $8.525 million. So I would expect Blake Martinez. Not that I would expect, but I have a feeling he's going to be cut or traded. Maybe they can work something out with Blake Martinez and try and rework it and restructure the contract and push a little bit of money down the road. It's not a crazy number at $8 million that you're having to deal with. But I if you can get something for Blake Martinez, that is absolutely is a good thing. I think you take whatever you can get for one of these players as opposed to just letting them go for nothing. So if they can find something for Martinez, great. He's still a really good player. He's a tackling machine. As soon as he went down, our defense was completely different and was, we couldn't really find someone to replace him. He would definitely be a tough player to replace, but there's a lot of good linebackers in this draft class that maybe the Giants go after. So if the Giants can get something for Martinez, absolutely trade him. If not, they would make the decision on whether or not they cut him. But saving $8.5 million, a little over $8.5 million, is definitely appealing. Sterling Shepard, one of my favorites. You would hate to see him go. You'd save $8.5 if you cut him after June 1st, and $4.5 if you cut him before June 1st. I just don't know what benefit you have cutting him after that date of June 1st. If you cut him after June 1st, that is after free agency and after the draft. So I don't know why. I don't know exactly how the league rules are, like when you have to be under the cap or how much you can be over by at a certain point. I'm not sure. But, an extra $4 million is definitely nice. But I think Sterling Shepard's definitely going to get cut, saving that $4.5 million before June 1st. He's not going to play next year at all, so it only makes sense to cut him. So I think he ends up getting cut ultimately. And then Riley Dixon, just such an obvious cut. He sucks. You're saving $2.8 million. You're going to draft one more than likely in the 6th round. Camarda or Ariza. Those are two punters in the draft that the Giants can go after. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with those guys there, if they take one. But I think Riley Dixon will definitely be cut to save that $2.8 million. And then there's some smaller cuts that the New York Giants can make. I don't know which they're going to make. There's obviously going to be these cuts of, saving $1 million, as there always is. I just don't know which players will get cut. I think a very possible guy is Devonte Booker, where you save $2.125 million. You're saving over $2 million there. Maybe Nick Gates, if they don't feel he's able to play, maybe they cut him, saving over $2.1 million. Shane Zimenez, I could see them cutting. You save $1 million there. Kane Smith's another one at $2.54 million. So there's obviously lots of routes to get to that $40 million number that Joe Shane's been talking about, what he wants to free up. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets there. I definitely think that he can get there one way or another. Kane Smith's an interesting one to me because the Giants don't have tight ends on the roster because Rudolph's going to be cut, Ingram's going to be gone. He's going to be left as the only one, really. And I just don't know if the Giants are going to cut him. I would cut him, especially because you can find a tight end at the, league minimum rate, and you would save over $1 million and about $1.5 million. So that's an interesting one. I would, if I were calling the shots, I think I would cut Caden Smith. You save over $2.5 million. That's an interesting one there. TJ Brunson coming off the injury, he's a guy I would cut. Another one, Wes Martin, he didn't play, so I don't see why you would keep him. And then there's a bunch of guys, Alex Bachman, David Moa, Nico Lalos. I mean, these are all guys who can cut and save just under $1 million. But, if you add them all up, you're going to get close to that $40 million number. But in the end, guys, I expect most of these cuts I listed, the main ones especially, I expect most of those ones, especially like Shepard, Rudolph, Dixon, those are the main three. And then Bradberry and Martinez are going to be tough players to part ways with, but as Giants fans, we got to realize that the new general manager coming in and the new head coach, they have no ties to these guys. They're Dave Gettleman guys, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. But I definitely think that cutting them would be, pretty good. You would save some, among the two, you'd save over $20 million. So some pretty good money there. We'll see what the Giants ultimately end up doing, but that's all I got in this video, guys. You guys let me know down below in the comments section your thoughts on who the Giants may cut, and these candidates that I brought up in the video. As Joe Shane, as we all know, he wants to save about $40 million in cap space and clear it up as he starts to build for the future. But guys, that's all I got in this video, and you guys let me know down below in the comment section, like I said. And as always, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We'll see you guys on the next video. Let's go Giants.